Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is episode 2 of using the split and the dual function on the Yamaha PSR E463. With the dual, I already spoke about it, that is used to combine two tones simultaneously. So if we have tone A and we have tone B, the dual puts the two tones together. And I also illustrated how you can control the volume of each of the individual tones that have become one tone. Now, going back into the dual once again. Before that, our default tone is grand piano. Therefore, if I want to dual, I have to dual grand piano and another tone. Let me click the dual and long press it. After long pressing, it's on D voice, which is strings. So I have dualed the grand piano and the strings. With this, the grand piano was my M voice, or my default tone, and the strings is now my D voice. So I want to make some changes to the strings with respect to octave. Now I'll press this side of the category to find D octave. D octave is on 0 now. Since my D is the strings, when I increase the octave to 1, the sound of the strings become thinner. It becomes thinner. When I increase it to 2, it keeps becoming thinner. When I bring it to -1, it becomes thicker. When I bring it to -2, it becomes more thicker. This is to say, depending on how you want your strings to sound or your dual tone to sound, you can either make it very thick or very thin in terms of sound. So let's check this out. Now it's D octave, it's on 0. Therefore the strings would be, would be sounding averagely. This is how it sounds as the D octave is on 0. Let me put the D octave on 1. D octave is on 1. Let's now listen to something. You can notice that the strings has become a little bit thin and then piercing. When I send the D octave to 2, it becomes more thinner and more piercing. Likewise, if I bring it to -1, it's going to be very thick. The strings is thick. We can hear it in the background, but it's thick. When I bring it to -2, it becomes thicker than it was in -1. And it's even difficult to notice because it's very thick. So I think -1 will be okay for us to spot the difference. The strings is thick. In the same vein, if I come to, let me click on portable ground to start everything, reset all changes I've made. Assuming my strings is now my M volume or my default tone, my first voice I'm selecting, which is 070 strings, and I long press the dual, and I now change the dual voice to piano, which is 001. It means now my piano is D voice. So if I want to make changes to the octave of my piano, I will just have to come back to the dual, long press the dual, and then look for D octave. Let me play the piano so that you you appreciate it. But then I've not pressed the dual, so I have to press the dual so the piano can play alongside with the strings. Dual has activated. You cannot really hear the piano. Let me send it to octave 1. That will even make it thinner. You can hear the piano, but then it's very piercing. When I send it to 2, it's going to be piercing as well. But I think we can manage with -1, where the piano will be a little bit thick, so we could appreciate the piano with the strings. So please kindly note the difference, whether your piano is the main voice or your dual voice, your D voice. In any of the cases, you just have to look for either D octave or M octave, and then make changes to the number there. If it is on 0, you want it to be more piercing, you want it to be thinner, then you can send it to 1 or 2. If you want it to be thicker, then you send it to -1 or -2. So I think that will be all for the dual. Let me click on portable grand. When we come back to the split, we realize that the split divided the keyboard into 2, from this place to this place, and we had the other tone 2 on this side. Since we have grand piano as our default tone when the keyboard was turned on, I just want to change it to, let's say, Cool Galaxy 011. This is Cool Galaxy. Therefore, we'll have Cool Galaxy as our M tone, or our main tone, or our main voice. Then we'll have to select our split tone. Long pressing on the split. I have S voice here. It's still on sweet trumpet. I want you guys to listen to how it sounds like. So with the same procedure, if you want to change the sound, if you want it to be thicker or thinner, you just move to your S octave. It's on -1 now, meaning it's very thick. So I can send it to 0 or 1. Let's listen to 1. Though this is the bass side of the keyboard, which we know should be more of bass, but you can control the sound depending on how you set the octave. Now this is the bass side. It's on 1 on S octave, so it sounds very thin. If I send it to 2, S octave 2, it sounds like I'm playing it on the right side of the keyboard. So this is to say that you don't always have to be playing the high notes on the higher octave. You can play the high note on a lower octave. After you split, you just go to your S octave and you make changes to the octave there. If you want the sound to be thin, you just go to 1 or 2. If you want it to be thick, you can maintain 0, -1 or -2, because sometimes you may need to have, let's see, an organ sound here, and then trumpet, organ and trumpet. You can just place the trumpet here and place the organ here. Make the necessary changes to the octave. When you think it's time to play the trumpet and you need it very thick, or as a brass set you need the sound thick, not thin, you just make changes to the S octave. Likewise, when it is here and then you want to make changes to it, you can just look for the M octave, make changes to the M octave, so that the organ may sound very thick or very thin, dependent on how best it will suit the song you are playing. Basically, I think that will be all for the split and the dual function. Let's kindly do well to use these two functions appropriately, just to help us play very well and more effectively with good tone selections, good dual settings, volume control, octave control, just to make our play better and then sounding more friendly, if I should say more friendly to the band and then to the audience as a whole. So I think that will be all for today. Thank you for watching today's video.